Alright guys, how's it going? This is Armored Warriors. This is a kind of a long play that I did a little while ago. I did a review on this game not so long ago, and I'll have a link for that in the description. It'll come up on screen as well. But what I wanted to do was an arcade run where I had given myself 10 credits to beat the game. Which I said, okay, usually in an arcade a credit can cost anywhere from 25 cents to 50 cents. So I said, hey, why not? I'll do one where each credit costs 50 cents. I have the idea is that I've got $5. I'm in the arcade. I'm ready, and I want to beat this game. You know, back in the 90s. I've got all the cash I'm gonna have, and let's get it on. Also during this is going to be kind of like just a free talk on some of the thoughts and stuff I didn't have that didn't get into the review. So yeah, doing it. This will be the first time in a while I've done one of these kind of post narrations. This game looks so awesome. Yeah, I just love seeing it. As you guys probably already know, I am a sucker for mechs and sci-fi. That's like my top genre. Got the drill arm. Let's go right through those soldiers. Oh, here's a boss. Hold it, you cyber sleazes. Drop your weapons and move away from the rivals. Look at that animation on the faces there. It's absurd for you humans to fight against me. You know, you can tell that they really put a lot of effort and detail into this game. It's the, I mean, getting that animation on the in-between sequences there. You don't even get that in a lot of RPGs. So, good stuff. At least not RPGs of this time, I should say. Hey, you sort of even get it in some now. Oh, God. I think when I recorded this initially, this is when I had first started playing the game. And I think I'd played it maybe 1 or 2 times. And then I was like, you know, I want to try this thing. I was going to kind of see about making it a little bit of a regular edition. Because I had just gotten through with playing the X-Men arcade game. And I was loving using the arcade stick on some of these old arcade games. And I was thinking, oh, you know, maybe I'll put this one out. But then I got the idea. I wanted to do a little bit more in-depth on it, so I went on ahead and made a review. And now this video is going to come out afterwards. Anyway, the fight's almost over it. But I beat this guy. I can beat this guy fairly consistently without losing a life at this point. But not on this run. A little mistimed sound effect there. I'll withdraw from now, but remember this. Anyone who stands in the way of army will be crushed mercilessly. And you're gonna talk shit after you just got literally beat. Of course. Red Shield, this is Gallagher. I love that. Look at that face, that grizzled veteran face. You can't even have beards in the military now. But, yeah, speaking of the military, that is actually when I first played this game. So, I went to the Navy, and when I first got to where I was going, I had no video games, nothing like that, but I did get a laptop. So I linked up with some friends and whatnot, and one of them gave me this emulation pack, and it's like 80 gigs worth of ROMs and emulators, and on it was a MAME, which in 2012 I hadn't heard of, and the MAME came with you know, tons of ROMs and whatnot, and I didn't really look into it too much because I think I got my PS3. Look at that guy just rip the arm off. Look at that guy just rip the arm off, and now I'm down to fighting one-handed. Something that didn't make it in the review, that the enemies will lose arms, and you can lose yours as well. I wonder if there's a way to do that now that you have this guy's arm. I haven't found that out yet. I mean, kind of to break my own story here, but each arm has its own kind of like unique move set with it as well. Like you'll see later, but different arms can do different moves beyond just kind of like striking the opponents, as you would expect from a Capcom game. They've got the special moves. They don't necessarily tell you all about them, but or at least not without the old arcade cabinet sticker sheet. First credit down, stage 2. That's bad news, fellas. But anyway, like I was saying before I interrupted myself, I was in the military, so I got this main pack, and I didn't really think too much about it because I had got my PS3 shortly thereafter. I think I got it sent to me from my parents and whatnot, so I was playing Mass Effect and all kind of stuff at the time, so I really, I saw the main thing, thought it was pretty cool, but I didn't really explore it too much. So it was years later, it was actually 2016. I was in the fleet and on my second deployment, and I had a Microsoft Surface tablet, and I had brought the little cooking keyboard, and I was getting prepared for deployment. Like I said, it was my second one, so I was a little bit on some veteran status there in terms of knowing what I needed to bring and stuff, not just for entertainment, but a lot of other little small things like that. And actually, that was that boat's first deployment, maiden deployment for the USS Mississippi. So I was there, and I knew that I needed to get XYZ. So in part of my preparation, I was like, well, unlike the last deployment where I brought like a Kindle with like one movie, this time I'm gonna make sure I got enough stuff to keep myself entertained. So I got the Surface, and one of the reasons I really wanted it was because it came with the Windows OS. So Windows OS, awesome. I can do a lot of things with that. And then I realized that I could hook up a PS3 controller right to it. And I had this program called DS4 or something like that. This is really kind of before Steam had a good integration with stuff. It didn't matter. It wasn't Steam anyway. But so anyway, it was like DS4 or something like DS3. And you could emulate your controller as a keyboard, or if your OS recognized the hardware, then you could use your controller. That's just a shortcut to it. And so had the controller, and so you're underway doing your thing. And I remember the first game I busted out was Gundam Battle Assault, and I was like, hey, it's pretty good. Played it in a galley, and some people were looking around, and it's like, hey, that game looks awesome. So go back to the main cart, and just it's a long deployment, so inevitably come across this game, and I was like, wow, this game is awesome. So I wound up playing a crap load of this and Fire Emblem, along with, what else did I play? There were some other ones, but yeah, I remember playing this and being like, man, this game is really cool. But then, I just played that, and I had so many games at my disposal, I just kind of shifted through them, and deployment ended. Next thing you know, you're going off, and you get back, and I think at the time I was back and playing Fallout 4, but anyway, I digress. So this game kind of went to the shelf for a long time, and it wasn't until I got my brother let me his arcade fight stick, and I wanted to play the X-Men arcade game, which at one point had been on the PS3 and Xbox arcade stores, but just like Scott Pilgrim had gotten digitally delisted. So I was like, man, so I fired that up. I got it to work after a little while, and then I remembered this game, and I was like, I got the arcade stick, let's run it. And yeah, it looks so good. So that is how I initially encountered Armored Warriors. I find a way to kind of incorporate something like that in a more brief storytelling sense. Talking over this awesome boss music. This underwater boss. Your mech doesn't move too much differently underwater here. I've got this whole stage and haven't even commented on it, but you move fairly, relatively the same. I mean, you can still definitely tell you're a little bit slower and whatnot, but they did a good job with the water mechanics not being too much of a pain here. Yeah. Missile. Enemy units have gathered at the scrapworks in Los Angeles. See, even with these cutscenes here, I can appreciate the fact that they use two different people based on the scenario. They could have just had one female radio operator, but no, they put in another person. You can just show they really put the effort into this game, which is, oh, I love these shooting mode. Blow them away. Okay, Burns, hope you got the setting right. I'm Burns. Trust me, it'll work. Now shut up and get moving. Yeah. But like I was saying, these modes here, like I was saying, these modes here though they are kind of like a bonus stage. The first time I did it, I just was like tap and shoot, then I realized you can just hold it and away you go. Do you get extra lives for points in this arcade game? I don't know. If you don't, that's a shame. I'll have to kind of monitor it and see. Look at me expertly dodge all the gold there. Sheesh. Gold bars. That kind of reminds me of a scene from Gundam X, which is another obscure show from the 90s. Colonel. Yeah, they did a great job on the soundtrack for this game also. Just like a lot of the... Capcom really just had Capcom really just had a top-tier staff back in the day. They really had some people that were just really good at what they were doing. And they still got some guys now, there's no question. I mean, Capcom's in the last 5, maybe 6 years had a resurgence, and they've definitely shown that they've got the juice. Oh, here's the one. So this electric arm here, I was able to figure out some of the tech with this one. Like, you can throw like a Hadouken ball, and you can like grab and shock and like drag enemies forward and backwards as well. But there's a few moves, like I'm not sure if it's, is it crouch DP to get this one going, or is it just, you know, for that one, I'm not sure what the motion is. I think it's just down forward, but it doesn't come out reliably, so maybe it's like quarter circle or half circle. Who knows? I'd have to probably play it and do a little bit more experimenting with it around to get it to work reliably. Sometimes I can bust it out though. Sometimes I can bust it out. The same thing with that. I'm not sure if I get it on this run. Well, never mind. As I speak, here it is. Up. Let it go. But the sword arm that you see there also has some tech that goes with that one also. You can do a few things. There's like a beam attack, I guess you could say, like kind of like a beam extension attack. I don't know, I'll just show it on screen. But you can do that and a few other things. Steamroller mech. You gotta wonder, what were the engineers thinking when they designed that? It's like, well, this one's gonna be for pressing clothes. We can also use it in the military application. It's like, what, 2 giant steamrollers? Shouldn't we put some guns and stuff on it? Nah, we'll make it jump. It's like, you wanna make a X-ton thing jump. Yeah. Alright, sounds good. But, massive load. I guess I talk shit, but it did the job. It did the job. But anyway, back to the Capcom staff. So yeah, Capcom really had a superior, staff and leadership on a lot of these games. And actually, one of the people, when I was doing my research for the review, his name was Yoshiki Okamoto, which when you want to talk about and credit staff members for each individual contribution, it's very tough to do, and I really think that more of that needs to be done in reviews and video game coverage as well. Give the individuals who really do the excellent work some of their due, like the really great programmers and animators and directors and artists, musicians, and all the other staff that comes into it. But especially with these older games, it is very difficult because let me just show you this thing I found on IMDb about Yoshiki Okamoto. Alternate names: Eichmann, Ponji, Kiaji Okamoto, Y Okamoto, Yoshiki Okamoto, Okamoto Yoshiki. Okay, so the Okamoto Yoshiki is just reverse spelling in Japanese style, but he's got like 4 or 5 different titles, and I'm sure you guys are aware of this, but back in the day, especially for Japanese developers, they used to have them put, you know, alternate titles and names so that they didn't get poached. You've seen it in the Castlevania Cinemassacre video with Fred Fuchs and, you know, what was it, Bello Lugosi and stuff like that, where they just have these alternative names for people. So it's very difficult to accurately get a feel for who in the company made what, and that's done on purpose. I mean, the corporations definitely want you to think Capcom, this is awesome, not Capcom directed by X, this is going to be good, which, you know, I think is part of the reason why Konami wanted to disenfranchise Kojima, or sort of underperform him, or not underperform him, but just sort of take away from his status, because it just seems to be the Japanese way where they don't want individuals within the company to be recognized. They just want it to be all on, you know, the company, which, you know, makes sense. I mean, it's not like it's exclusive to Japan, but we here in America do it too. You know, it's ironic. It kind of brings us to a little story about Activision. I think it's Activision. There was like back in the old days, like in the 80s, early 80s and late 70s, there's a group of guys who worked for Atari, and they were the talked all the way through this boss battle, but they were the principal people who developed, I think they made at the time something like Atari's top 5 games, and had brought in, like, you know, X million dollars for Atari. And back in those days, you didn't really have teams working on games the same way you do now. I mean, we've heard of the I think it's Andy Warhol story, where he had to program E.T. and do everything by himself, make the graphics, the art, and had to do like in a few weeks. So if you think about that kind of work environment where one guy's kind of expected to come up with, program, and create an entire game alone and do it within relative speed, for those guys who were able to do it and perform on a consistent basis, they were the ones bringing in, you know, the top hits for Atari, and they were told that they weren't any more important than the people who packaged the games, like physically. So those guys decided to leave, and they had this idea to make a game company that credited the artist, and this was Activision. They released a couple games that had the artist's names right on them, but it's funny if you look at Activision today, compared on where their roots were, and there's that beam attack I was talking about. But if you look at Activision today compared on where their roots were, it's amazing how, along with EA is another company like that, where they started off with the best of intentions, and you know, money became the driving force, as it is with all business and corporations, and those intentions sort of just went away, and they became just like everybody else. But anyway, crediting artists in video games is something I think, not just artists, but crediting the people who make the games directly. I'd like to see more of that in our YouTube reviews and independent works, just so you can, these are the best legs in the game, just so you can get these guys are doing, and you can also see just how brilliant they were. Like, for example, going back to Yoshiki Okamoto here, finally, this guy produced, what was it, over a course from 1985 to 2006, an incredible amount of some of the best Capcom games. So this guy starts off, just to name a few, he made Dynasty Warriors, he made Final Fight. Now, not the Dynasty Warriors you're thinking about, it's actually Dynasty Wars, I made a mistake there. But Final Fight, Street Fighter 2, he made, I should say his position exactly, he was a producer on these games, or an executive producer and or director for a lot of these. So maybe not necessarily a programmer, but you gotta think, for a producer at the time, the roles in video games, or the staff was a lot more limited back in the day. So, like, for example, Keiji Inafune, who made a lot of the music and did a lot of things with the Mega Man series, he was also credited as a producer, but producer's not the same term as you might think it means today. Producer back in those days really did a lot more. So, getting back to his resume. So he has Final Fight, Street Fighter 2, Street Fighter Alpha, Resident Evil is the executive producer, Street Fighter 2 Turbo, Mega Man 8, Mega Man X4, Marvel vs. Capcom, Street Fighter 3 Third Strike, the best version of the game, Marvel vs. Capcom 2, Power Stone 2, you know, Mega Man X6, terrible game, but he's also done one of my favorite games, Mobile Suit Gundam, Federation vs. Zeon. Devil May Cry 2, oh, that game's awful. Genji Days Dawn of the Samurai, but I didn't hit every game that he made, but he's made a ton of games for Capcom back in the day, and actually he left the company in 2006 to make his own company, which I think folded because of poor sales for whatever games they were trying to make. But that kind of just goes to show you that you get somebody who's really good at something, and had I not done any research for this video, I'd never have known that. It's like, yeah, Capcom made all these great titles. The same with Konami. They made all these great titles, but is it all Konami, or is it just a few guys within Konami, like a really good team within Konami? Or really any of these franchises and organizations. And from a corporation standpoint, I get it. You don't want people buying games based solely. That's a little bit of a trick there. Some of these containers having bombs in them and stuff instead of goodies. It's a bit lame. But yeah, you don't want people buying games saying, let me look at the back of the box and see who worked on this, and yeah, from there I'll determine which game I'll buy. But at the same time, if people leave companies and make new games, it's one way you can find maybe some high quality stuff, or the stuff that you yourself are looking for. Look at probably the best example I can think of for that is, I don't know why, Tim Schafer. Tim Schafer and I don't know why I can't think of his name right now. It's evading me. He's the guy who made Monkey Island and Maniac Mansion. Ron Gilbert, there it is. But so I mean, those guys left LucasArts games back in the day. They made a bunch of adventure games. And then they go on to make Tim Schafer goes on to make Psychonauts and Brutal Legend and what was it? Broken Age. So I may have talked about this before, but I played Psychonauts and really enjoyed it. And at the end of it, I was like, man, you know, there wasn't just some great platforming and action here. There's also characters are great. Writing was just awesome. Who made this? And you look at the credits, and it's like Tim Schafer. It's like, wait, I've seen that name somewhere before. And you go back and look, hey, that's the guy who made Grim Fandango. And you go back and look, hey, that's the guy who made X. So that leads me to go find out and go play Full Throttle, which I've done a playthrough on this channel. And getting that info is critical. It's the same thing with Ron Gilbert. You know, you play Monkey Island and you're like, oh, that was pretty good. Maniac Mansion. Years later, there's a game he made called The Cave, and another one that I've played. I might do a playthrough on this channel at some point. Thimbleweed Park, which was awesome. And I didn't even know at the time when I got Thimbleweed Park that it was made by them. But I got it, 2017 is when I played it, I think? Or, yeah, I think it was 2017. And had I known, I would have, you know, bought it straight away, been on a pre-order or anything like that. I mean, case in point, there's a new game coming out called Psychonauts 2, which I'm a backer for. It's actually quite late, but I know who's making them now, so knowing that, even though that's a direct sequel game, I was like, yeah, let me be a backer. I want to see more of this. Or another one is Eiyuden Chronicles, which is coming out, and the guy who made Suikoden series back in the day, especially Suikoden 2, made a Kickstarter for that. and having that information, like, oh, that's the producer, he's doing something else, kind of gives you at least an opportunity to look at some games that they may have made that weren't with, you know, the companies that they started off with. That was certainly a long-winded rant/discussion. Oh, dodge him, come on. Dude, one of the reasons I think you could beat this game in like $5 or less, probably even a lot less, is unlike Final Fight and really a lot of other of the beat-em-ups from the 90s, this is a lot more fair. I mean, I went through the X-Men game recently, and if you just kind of watch your aggression and you're patient, you don't necessarily need to have this boss's pattern memorized in order to do damage and get away clean. Like, I'm being aggressive here, and you know, if I circled around and got that guy and then just kind of sat back, waited, and picked a spot to attack, there's definitely a lot more ways that you can get through enemies. Like, you just saw that laser. I dodged that earlier. You know, not necessarily easily, but I don't have to be in that laser's range, for sure. I mean, obviously when you're first playing the game, especially in the arcade, the mental pressure is a lot tougher because you're just on your heels. Oh, we're working through those credits, boys. What is that, credit 4 or 5? I don't know. Hopefully we can do this. But yeah, like I was saying, I think the difficulty of this game is pretty even. I mean, even that X-Men game, there's no way. If you didn't know about some of the, like, traps coming up and whatnot, you're just going down. This game doesn't really have so much of that, which I can appreciate. I don't know why, I just love that area clear music. The enemy are transporting their weapons by way of the old Ryan rail system. Oh, this is an awesome level. Like how she closed her eyes and smiles, like telling you like some epic info, like, you gotta do this. Uh-huh. But yeah, a few other stuff I wanted to talk about in the review, but didn't really find a way to fit in. Actually, was a point that I made from talking to AMAC, which was about the game's popularity itself. And I mean, you guys have seen, you know, almost 30 minutes of this now, and I think you can see that, you know, especially in '94, the animation and everything, this is really good. Music's great, gameplay's fun. If you like mechs and stuff, this is right in your alley. But game not more popular, and as I was talking to AMAC, he made a really good point. Like in the first few minutes of our conversation, he said, "I can tell you right, the game's not more popular. It's in the first opening seconds of your review. It's the IP. I mean, look at the games you listed off: X-Men, AVP, Dungeons and Dragons, The Simpsons. Those are all known IP games, and you know, if you're in an arcade and you have your choice, what are you going to do? You're going to play this random game with a generic title, Armored Warriors you never heard of? Or are you going to go play Simpsons or X-Men or Terminator or, you know, AVP? And it's like, yeah, it's a great point, unfortunately. And if you're an arcade manager, what are you going to do? You're going to get this game that's high quality but that nobody's heard of? No, you're going to get the games that everybody's heard of. And case in point to that, not case in point, but I don't know why I like saying that so much today. I get on these kicks where I'm de-armed with some serious ish. That laser gun attachment is critical. That thing is so good. But to my point about that is the X-Men game that I played. I grew up playing that. I mean, I probably saw that game, that X-Men arcade game, even though it was released in 1992. I probably saw that X-Men arcade game like for all my memory in arcades, all the way up to like 2000 and maybe even later than that. If I went to an arcade, that was one of the games that was going to be there for sure. This guy here. You're worthy to be destroyed by me. What is this, the second or third time we're beating you? Oh, this boss theme is excellent. So, those games with an IP are definitely going to, especially beat-em-ups with an IP are definitely going to outshine other beat-em-ups, especially, even though this game is, I think, a much better game than X-Men and Simpsons. Capcom also did an AVP in Dungeons & Dragons, and, you know, to be fair, I think Dungeons & Dragons is an even better game than this one. In a way. I mean, this game's more interesting to me because I like sci-fi, but the gameplay in Dungeons & Dragons, you know, it's pretty varied, and I think people are always going to be a little bit more drawn to not only a series they recognize, but fighting with people. There's a lot more people that like fantasy than there is that like sci-fi. Yeah, got him. I think we fisted this guy this time. Or did he beat us one time? I don't know. Overkill this poor guy like, I'll just be on my way. I don't think so. Oh, I can't be defeated twice by mere humans. You're good. But you're too late. A trainload of heavy weapons is already headed for the main unit. Once it arrives, you won't stand a chance. And now that I've told you these plans, I leave. The mechanic. Most underrated job in all these shows. I want to make a game. I want to make a game or a show that features like all these auxiliary people. I mean, the action's always going to be what draws guys in. There's no question about it. But has anybody seen that episode of Band of Brothers that focuses on the doctor? And he's like the field medic. And there's not a lot of combat in that, but it just kind of goes through how he's dealing with everything and all the death and destruction he's got to try and fix. Yeah, we did it, but lost our arm in the process. I don't know, I think we came off a little worse for that. Nani? Ugh. This thing. So, plot-wise, we wanted to stop the train from delivering the payload of heavy weapons. You stand no chance. With half an arm. Might as well leave that energy for next time. Another credit. I think we're starting to run a little light on credits here. Nice! Nice! They just dropped off like 8 arms for you. But, so we wanted to stop this. Oops, sorry about that, hit the mic. So we wanted to stop the weapon, trainload of weapons, and the weapon turns out to be just this. And then we're going to fight it anyway. So, it's a totally unsuccessful mission. Also, kind of ridiculous for the riot to pin all their hopes on one suit. One mech. Alright. But yeah. No! Oh no! Oh no! Does this guy not know I'm on a credit run here? I can't afford. I can't afford. I can't afford. In the arcade, I'd be so pissed if this guy gets a hold of you and rips off your arm. Sheesh. That laser does so much damage. This enemy is so cheap. I take back everything I said about the difficulty. I take it back. This guy's cheap. You can't even hit him. He's just flying in the air. Oh. That super damaging arm. And these ads, they just keep coming. Good thing is that damaging arm does it to the enemies too, which is nice. I gotta respect the ads. I gotta respect it because he's gonna rip my arm off if I don't. He got me. See, he got me. Just tap me. Guys, there's so much damage. Nice. That ball works though. I can't believe this guy's rinsed me. I was doing, I think, pretty well, but this guy has rinsed me. You know, maybe this one weapon was the key. No, you don't, sir. I need to figure out how you do that grab consistently. But see, the thing is, you don't want to be in an animation doing that. Jesus Christ, is it 3 credits on this guy? You're ruining me. My money. Yeah, that grab is so damaging. See if I could just get like 2 or 3 of those, he'd be toast. Oh, nice. If you put it into, I didn't even notice that. So if you put him into somebody else, it shocks them too, conducting the electricity. It's kind of like a goof arm with the heat whip, a little bit, right? Where it shocked, not the heat whip, but the electrical attack, like they had in 8th MST. Dun dun. We are getting light on credits here, boys. I could feel it. I don't know the count, you know, at this point. Not here nor while I'm in game, but I do know we're getting light. But we're getting close to the end of the game too. I mean, we've got one more. Oh, bless you, bless you. See, look at them taking that time to add in. Hey, hang in there, kid. Take that time to add in that those touches for those who want to watch it. It really, you got to credit Capcom, or at least I do, for adding those touches in. I mean, it's an arcade game that they put a story in, an actually decent story, decent plot, some characters who have some animations and stuff. I mean, they didn't have to do any of that. You look at those games that even have the IPs. Even Dungeons and Dragons and AVP, which are also by Capcom, have less effort on their stories than this one does. That's I think it's a testament to this one. But hey, as I said before, how do you do that recovery? As I said before, despite the good game and good gameplay and effort and attention to detail, it's too bad it wasn't paired with something more recognizable. I mean, could you imagine if Capcom had gotten the Gundam license and had instead of or even the Armor Trooper Votum's license, that would have worked. I mean, amazingly. And as I said in the review, you could see this game is a lot Armor Trooper Votum's. It is similar, if you're familiar with that series, it's similar in in a pretty obvious way. I mean, even the fact that the suits can walk and they have these kind of like underhoof skates that they can roll, I mean, that's straight out of Votum's. And I'm sure there's some other series that have done stuff like that too, but you get the sense, especially with the scale of the suits relative to the soldiers, that it's similar in that way too, or the replaceable parts. That's a little bit its own thing. But Armor Trooper Votum's has absolutely had a strong impact on this game, and maybe they wanted to get the license and they just couldn't for some reason. I mean, as far as I know, there aren't many Armor Trooper Votum's games that I can think of. Of course, I'll probably look up on Wikipedia that there's an absolute boatload in Japan. I remember going through this part and trying to avoid people. Trying to avoid like all these people like, get out of here! Don't be over here cheering me on, you gotta run! Over here waving to the camera like, yeah, good job, get out of here. You see, doing this. You got these mech slugs around. Avoid the man, I remember now. I remember I was feeling like this is all high stakes. This is high stakes stuff here. We're rescuing people. I'm getting into it. Got the good gun, got the right arm, got the tread tracks. We're set up. Oh, don't get that. I might have been out of shots, so that laser thing doesn't have a lot of shots. You don't get any life for points in this game, by default anyway. Oh, this footage you're seeing also is with the main emulator as opposed to the Steam version, which I do have, and I think if I do another playthrough of that, I'll do it on that one. But on the Steam version, you kind of select how many lives and credits you want beforehand, and then you kind of go that way. This one I wanted to control it a little bit more. But the Steam version does have quite a lot of nice extras. I put some of them in the review, but tons of pictures and what's this? So this is where they make the cyborgs. They're breaking them of humans. What are these guys doing? They're just shooting like... who are those guys in the background? Are they... I thought those were the enemy bosses, but I guess they're... not? But yeah, they have quite a lot of extras, and all the, pardon me, all that concept artwork that went into the game. It's interesting to see all that stuff because it gives you a little bit of, or at least for me, it gives a little bit of context to, despite the fact that a lot of the stuff's not going to make it into the game, that it takes all these elements to create a vision, to create a game, to create a good game. Something like, there's a story that some guy was telling when he worked for EA. They had this Need for Speed game, and somebody had wrote out this really nice and interesting story and plot, and it was never going to be in the game. But they wrote all that out just so that when they were making the direction of the game, they would have an idea about how the characters, or how the world would feel. I get what that does is it allows someone who's making something to have a vision in their mind for maybe just how gritty something is, or how much impact something would have, or maybe gives the artist a way to say, oh, this would be some of the wraps and graphics that they would have in this world, even for a racing game. They could just copy Fast and Furious on or something. But I just like that. That's I love seeing all that stuff. So the beat 'em up bundle for me is worth it just for that. Man, these regular henchmen at this point are they're getting tough. We're getting to some of their better pilots, it seems here. What is this guy in? This Dr. Wily setup? Look how confident he is, despite the fact that he's gonna get fisted. You must know I'm low on money. Give you some shots. Oof. Had it right on me. Nice. See how nice of him it is to put some energy in the game for you when you beat one of these hard guys? That's good. That's good game design. Grab him. Nice. See, you get full life to get yourself at least a decent run on this guy. Yeah, I'll show you the power. Hit this guy while he's out of his suit. Well, or not. Get him. Get him. Ah, you fucker. It's like, face the power of superior of androids. What we really mean to say is overwhelming numbers. Oh, my arm got knocked off. I didn't even notice. Oh, crap. Get it, get it, get it, get it. Come on. Oh, no. No. I'm out of credits. No. It's a cool game over screen, but this guy was talking all that crap. Man. Boo. Well, good run. Great run. Like I said, great arcade game. Drop a comment down below. Let me know what you think for those those few of us who are watching these. But regardless, let me know if you want me to do a little bit more of this. I have had some really good suggestions from a couple friends on some more content to do. So I'm working on that, and hopefully you guys will see some more stuff out soon. I've been reinvigorated to get it going. So I hope you guys enjoyed that, and we will see you next time. See you guys.